Thanks for joining us in the Trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics, coming to you from our First Star Logistics studios. And boy, we got one for you. Bengals wide receiver coach, Troy Walters. I'll tell you, he should get a lot of credit. This core of wide receivers, the big three, I mean, they're the best in the National Football League, and the numbers show it. Every single one of them has at least 455 yards receiving. No other trio in the NFL at the wide receiver position can claim that. The only team in the NFL that has that productivity, Cincinnati Bengals. Coach Walters will tell us why, not only from the physical standpoint of the greatness of these players, but their love for each other, the bond that they have, the unity that they have. It's not me, it's we, us in that wide receiver room. You're going to like what you hear. Thanks for giving us some of your time. You're in the Trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics. And very special guest right now is Bengals wide receiver coach Troy Walters, who is an outstanding wide receiver himself while at Stanford. Won the Fred Biletnikoff Award. That goes to the best wide receiver in all of college football. And he plays for 8 years in the National Football League as a wide receiver, punt returner. Coach, welcome to the show, my man.
Thanks for having me, man. It's good to be on.
It's good to have you. And what about how your group is playing? I mean, it is the only wide receiver trio in the National Football League that all three players have 455 yards receiving or more. That's saying something.
Yeah, we got a special group. Those guys come to work every day. They prepare. And the one thing I'm so proud of those guys is they care about each other, and they're more happy when the other guys have success and are successful. And so we have an unselfish group, and we just got to keep getting better.
That's the remarkable part to me, and that's a tribute to you, the players, the call, everything. And a great example is Tyler Boyd's 60-yard touchdown catch against the Falcons. Safety falls down. Could have gone to either Tyler Boyd or T. Higgins. I mean, either one of them is going to score a 60-yard touchdown, and the choice is to go to Tyler Boyd. One of the first guys that's happy for Tyler Boyd and getting that opportunity is T. Higgins, and it could have been him. And, it's like, I'm just glad we scored a 60-yard touchdown, guys, and we're up 7-0. Then you have something pretty special, don't you?
Yeah, we do. And those guys are team first guys, and they want the success of the team to be ahead of their own personal success. But they understand that individually, if they can be successful and have good games, then it's probably going to help the offense out. And even during that game, those guys, Jamar and Tyler, they got their stats and over 100 yards and touchdowns, and they were hoping and wishing that T would get over 100 yards, and they were rooting for him. And so that's the type of culture we have, and not only in the receiver room, but amongst the whole team. Zach's done a great job of bringing in the right type of men, unselfish, team first guys, and the whole locker room is really embodies that attitude.
455 yards or more for all three guys in 7 football games. There's 17 during the course of the season. You don't have to be Albert Einstein or some other mathematician to figure that all three of them are tracking for 1,000 yards. And that's a unique accomplishment. We were talking about it a little bit earlier, Coach, that is rare. And I was wondering how rare it was. And I looked it up. There are 5 cases of it in NFL history. Only 3 of those cases are involving 3 wide receivers. Others have a tight end involved or a running back, wide receiver, return type guy. And let's go through them here real quick. The 1980 San Diego Chargers, Dan Fouts was quarterbacking, John Jefferson, Charlie Joyner, Kellen Winslow. Winslow, obviously a great tight end, but those 3 players each had 1,000 yards. 89 Redskins, Mark Rippon, Doug Williams, throwing to Gary Clark, Art Monk, Ricky Sanders. So 2 different quarterbacks, but you got 3 wide receivers there. The 95 Falcons, Jeff George, throwing to Terrence Mathis, Burt Emanuel, and now a running back wide receiver return specialist, Eric Metcalf. So that falls into a little different category. The 2004 Indianapolis Colts, of which you're a member of that football team, Peyton Manning throwing to Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, Brandon Stokely. And then finally in 2008, Kurt Warner throwing to Larry Fitzgerald, Anquan Bolden, Steve Breston. So there's only 5 cases of it happening with 3 players, only 3 cases of it happening with 3 wide receivers. The 2004 Indianapolis Colts with Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, Brandon Stokely, Peyton Manning, you were part of that football team. What was that group like, and how similar is it to what you got cooking here with the Cincinnati Bengals, Coach?
Yeah, very, very similar. Those guys were unselfish, great football players, great teammates. Came to work every day. Paid attention to the details. So they were great route runners, dependable. Had a great relationship with Peyton, and that was just a special year. And I know Peyton put up some big numbers that year. And things really on offense, we had things clicking and rolling that season, and it's very similar to what we have going on now. Great relationship between Joe and those receivers. They come to work every day. They're concerned, and the details of everything is important to them. They're unselfish, and we've got things rolling on offense, and so it's very similar.
Coach, when you see as many back shoulder throws and completions as is happening with the Bengals, I mean, if it doesn't hook up, I'm like stunned, because it's like, it happens all the time. You start to take it for granted, but you shouldn't take it for granted, because that's a deal where wide receiver and quarterback are on the same page, and that's time on task. I mean, that's doing it for a while, right? I mean, it's something that you over and over and over again. What's the key? What are the coaching points that you try to tell your receivers about when to expect a back shoulder throw and when not to?
Yeah, a lot of it comes down to just the repetition. With Joe and Jamar, they've been doing it for since their days at LSU, and so they're always on the same page as to when the back shoulder is going to be thrown, when the ball is going to be thrown, where Chase has to go run underneath it, and then we work on it in practice. And Joe does a great job of just the type of passes. I don't know if every quarterback can throw a back shoulder the way he does, with enough touch that allows the receiver to stop on a dime, catch it, and also get yards after the catch. I don't think Chase has had many, or any of those guys have had many back shoulders where it's been a difficult back shoulder where they fall to the ground. A lot of them have been back shoulders where they're able to catch the ball and still get yards after the catch. And that's a testament to Joe and just the accuracy and the touch he puts on those type passes. And from a receiver standpoint, we're always preaching and emphasizing not to give away the back shoulder, not to react too soon. You want to try to react at the last minute so that the defender thinks we're going down the field. And then as you saw Chase do last 2 weeks in New Orleans and last week against Atlanta, he stops on a dime, the defender continues his momentum, and now we're able to make the catch and get yards after the catch.
That's such a key point. Stay up, don't go to the ground, because the one you talk about down the left sideline to Jamar Chase against New Orleans, where he catches it and then splits everybody and accelerates 2 steps. He's at full speed and it's a touchdown. He runs away from everybody, which he's done before. That wasn't the first time he's done that. And then the other side of it, not a back shoulder, but the touchdown, he had the 32-yard touchdown catch against the Falcons, where Joe Burrow, he doesn't drop it in a bucket. He drops it in a thimble down the football field, and Jamar makes an unbelievable play. I mean, they have it covered about as well as it can be covered, and it's a touchdown anyway. I mean, that has to just be totally demoralizing for a defensive backfield and for a defensive football team in general. Talk about the execution on that play where Joe Burrow makes the throw that he makes to Jamar Chase, and Jamar makes that play.
Yeah, it was just a fade route, and the guy got up, the corner got up and pressed Jamar, and usually good things happen when guys want to get up in his face and press
Right.
him. And he had a good release, didn't have to do a whole lot, but got outside and then did a good job of stacking the defender, saving space on the outside for Joe to put the ball outside of the defender. And then it was just a heck of a catch. Great concentration. The defender was stride for stride, and Jamar, reached over his head, caught it. And the most impressive thing is going to the ground, maintaining control of the ball. A lot of times receivers will make the play in the air, but as they're coming down, the force of the ground or the force of the defender trying to get the ball out, the ball will move and it'll be an incomplete pass. But he did a great job of using strong hands and securing a catch all the way through the ground. And it was a huge play, huge momentum, gets the crowd going, gets the offense going. And, that's the type of plays that he made last year, and he was really lacking kind of the deep balls this year, the contested deep ball. And so that's good because once it happens now, you can expect that more of that to come.
So now you've got Joe Burrow has more passes of 50 yards or more since 2020 than anybody in the National Football League, any other quarterback. And since 2021, year and a half here, you have the top two receivers for catches of 50 yards or more in the National Football League. Jamar has 5. Tyler Boyd has 4. And talk about Tyler Boyd. He had that 60-yard touchdown. The safety had issues and went to the ground or whatever, but he makes that play. And in the first quarter, he has 4 catches, 105 yards, and that touchdown. For the game, he's targeted 9 times, 8 catches, 155 yards, career high with the touchdown. On the 9th one, he got grabbed. He's trying to jump, and he can't even jump. I can't believe they didn't throw a flag on that play. But at any rate, that's the other time he's targeted. The throw and the catch, the one-handed catch he made, the throw that Joe Burrow made with Grady Jarrett bearing down on right in his face, and to throw it where he threw it, and for Tyler Boyd to go and make that one-handed catch. Take us through that play, Coach. That was crazy.
Yeah, once again, it's 2 great players making plays, and Joe put enough touch on that pass to get it over the linebacker, but not too much that the corner falling off could make a play. And then Tyler, ran a good route, and it's one of those, across the middle. He's fearless. He knows he's going to get hit probably, and he had great concentration to make that one-hand catch, and took a little shot and was able to hang on to the ball and make a big play. But Tyler Boyd, since I've been here, has been Mr. Dependable on and off the field, stable, consistent. Doesn't have a whole lot of ups and downs. You know what you're going to get, and really, he's the emotional leader of the receiver room, and he's kind of the old head in the receiver room, and the young guys look up to him, and he does a tremendous job of leading, not only by action but also vocally, and gets those guys going. So glad to have TB, and I look for him the rest of the year just to keep ascending and keep getting better, and I'm happy for him because there's times when he had 2 or 3 targets, and Jamar and T had a bunch of them. He never complains. He's a team first guy, and he wants the Bengals to be successful, and that's what you want.
He's such a great player on 3rd down, but all 8 of his catches were on 1st and 2nd down. In fact, you guys tore the Falcons up on 1st down. I mean, made a bunch of plays. 9 passes and 1 run by Joe Burrow for 20 yards. 9 passes were for over 20 yards. You had 10 plays of 20 yards or more in that football game against the Falcons. Again, 9 of them were completions. 6 of those 9 of 20 yards or more were on 1st down. What was it about 1st down where you said, we got to attack? I mean, completions, we just got to go get completions and put them in the bank, and pretty soon your account grew to like 35 points.
Yeah, the mindset going into the game was understanding that their offense, they wanted, similar to New Orleans, they wanted to control the clock, run the ball, limit the number of possessions that we were to have. And so we understood the importance of maintaining drives, scoring points. They're a zone team, really allow you to take short completions. We knew that they were probably going to play back a little bit, and they were banged up a little bit in the secondary. So the goal going in was to just Brian talked about taking a profit and just taking short catches and catching it maybe 5-6 yards down the field and getting 10, getting 12 yards after the catch, and just continue to move the ball and then be in third and manageable situations. Anytime you're successful on first down and second down, then it gives you third and short, or you're not in many third downs, which if you have those situations, then you're probably going to be pretty successful. So the guys took the plan, ran with it, did a great job of executing. When big plays and shots presented itself, we made plays there. But when they were, giving us cushion underneath, and we took the short passes and made the most of them and got yards after the catch. So it's a great game plan, and the guys executed.
The thing that impresses me, and we've talked about this before, is how your receivers do everything, not just, run great routes, catch the football. They'll block. Tyler Boyd can throw it. More than one receiver can throw it, obviously. But Tyler Boyd, having played quarterback in high school, he had the great pass to Jamar Chase for like 33 yards. I mean, it was a beautiful deal. He comes around, and it looked like it was going to be a screen to him. And Jamar, chokes it down like he's going to block and then takes off. And boy, 33 yards later, it's a big play up the football field. But then in this football game against the Falcons, you run that tight end. Hurst is wide. He motions back. You run a tight end screen. And Tyler Boyd blocks two. They got an extra defender. You got three blockers for four guys. And Tyler Boyd sorts it out and picks a guy off and blocks him into another guy. I'm like, man, TB now. He'll do the dirty work. He'll do it all. He'll do anything it takes to win football games.
Yeah, I think that's a sign of a great unit, is when they're unselfish and they want to block. And they block for not only the running backs, but the tight ends. They ask us sometimes to go down and block a defensive end or crack a middle linebacker. And so whatever job we have, we're excited about. We want to be able to help the team. And those guys embrace the challenge, embrace those opportunities. And like I said, whatever we can do to help this offense go. And we know part of it's going to be catching passes and running routes and catching the ball and making plays there. But we also understand that there's going to be times where we got to get physical and block and so that the run game can get going. And guys are unselfish, so they're willing to do whatever it takes.
I had a few offensive line coaches, and my first two line coaches in the NFL were both Pro Bowl offensive linemen, one a Hall of Fame offensive lineman, Mike McCormick. Bill Tiger Johnson was a Pro Bowl center with Y.A. Tittle at the 49ers before Y.A. Tittle was with the Giants. And then Mike McCormick with the Cleveland Browns was one of the greatest players the Cleveland Browns ever had. Big offensive tackle out of Kansas. So it's like these guys, I'm looking at these guys, and my head coach at one point is Forrest Gregg, another great offensive lineman who's in the Hall of Fame, played for Vince Lombardi. And when these guys got up and spoke and said something, some had championship rings on their fingers. All of them did, I guess. In fact, I mean, instantaneous credibility. It's like, man, these guys all played. So when I had issues, whether it was, on the field related or maybe even off the field, but it was still related to my job in the NFL in some way, shape, or form, it was such a comfort to be able to go talk to guys like that. I imagine your receivers feel the same way. You played in the league for 8 years at the position that they played. It has to be a feeling of comfort that they can talk to you about anything, Coach. I mean, do you feel that you have that type of relationship with your guys?
I do. First and foremost, it's about off the field and making sure you have that relationship, making sure those guys know that you care about them as young men and their families and whatever is going on off the field. And I think they understand that it's bigger than football. It's about life, and some of the lessons that we learn, and I try to teach them, is about not only about now, but it's about when they become husbands and fathers, and 10 years from now, life lessons that they can hold on to. And my playing days, I was always a backup, but I was blessed to play with some pretty good offenses and with
Yep.
some pretty good receivers. And I've brought all the things that I've learned, my experiences as a receiver, into coaching. And I kind of coach from a player's perspective, and I've been there and done that. And so, I never want them to do something that it looks good on the chalkboard, looks good on the board, but it's really hard to do on the field. And so I think they understand that when I come to them, I come to them from a player's perspective, and this is what needs to get done, and they respect that. And I try to stay young, try to keep up with them. I'll throw my cleats on and run some routes in pregame during pregame warmups,
Yep.
and just have a good time and enjoy those guys, enjoy being around each other, and always push them and try to help them to become the best that they can be.
So, Coach, it doesn't do receivers any good to be able to run great routes and be open and all those type of things. And you don't have a quarterback can throw the ball straight and pay it off, So you've been around, like you were with the Colts with Peyton Manning. You've been around some great quarterbacks, college, NFL level. How special is Joe Burrow? I mean, how special is the relationship that Joe Burrow has with these receivers? I mean, the guy, he is pinpoint. I mean, I remember talking to Paul Brown, over the years, and it's like, Coach, what's the biggest must have other than intangibles? I'm talking about tangible must haves, not leadership and all that, but just as a quarterback, accuracy. You got to throw the ball straight, David. If you don't throw the ball straight, it doesn't mean anything. This guy throws the ball straight, Coach, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's special, and that's why he has the nickname franchise, and that's why he is the franchise quarterback, because he has no weaknesses. He's mentally, he's like another coach on the field. Preparation wise, I know Coach Dan Pitcher does a great job, and Zach and Brian Callahan do a great job with him just throughout the week. And so on game days, he understands what the defense is trying to do. He's seen the blitzes. He gets the O-line in the right protections. I mean, we put a lot on his shoulders. We can go no huddle where he can get us into the right plays. And he just, he's very similar to Peyton. And Peyton was the general. And he made our jobs as receivers a lot easier because he knew the coverages. He knew what routes to get us to. The way he threw the ball with enough touch, accuracy, never put us in a compromising situation as a receiver, but then demanded excellence. And we were accountable to him because he wanted to be great, and he didn't let anything slip. And so Joe is just like that, right? If you go out there and you're slipping and falling and not catching the ball, he's going to let you know, and you're probably not going to get the ball from him after that. And so, he raises everybody's games because of his intensity and his attention to detail and his him wanting to be excellent. And so that raises the standards for all of us. And the guys bought in. They got a great relationship on and off the field. And I see it just continue to grow, and the sky's the limit as to the relationship and the connection and the numbers that these guys are going to put up together.
When I think of you and Jamar Chase, tennis balls always come right to mind for me. You guys have started this working with tennis balls to even laser the focus more on making catches, and it started during training camp. And to watch you guys in pregame warm up, you guys are out there working, man, and it's a tribute to both of you. Take me through the. Will the tennis ball be a big part of the pregame preparation, do you think, as long as you guys are together?
Yeah, I think so. It just started really last year when he was having those troubles during training camp, catching the ball, and it was really just focus. And so we got the tennis balls out and just caught a bunch of tennis balls, and it kind of evolved into a pregame routine and ritual, and that's what we do. And I tell them the importance of the preparation and pregame, taking the field. We go out there probably 2 hours, 2.5 hours before the game, and we have a routine. And I tell them, once you hit that field, we got to have that focus and that game time mentality. And so they start getting that 2 hours before the game. And so it's been good, and they enjoy it. And I love that they're easy to coach, and they want to be pushed. They want to be driven. They want to find ways to be successful in little things, and what can they do to get better. And they're going to work at their craft, and they've done a great job.
So, Coach, give us a little thumbnail scouting report on the trio, the trio of receivers. And I don't want to diminish the other guys in your room, the role that they have with the football team. And I know that you appreciate, obviously, everything that they do. But we're talking about, the big three here, Chase, Higgins, and Boyd. Give us a scouting report on their talents, I guess. If you were standing up on draft day, and you wanted your organization to draft these guys, knowing what you know about them, give us a thumbnail sketch of what that might be.
Yeah, I'll start with Tyler. A veteran, savvy route runner, consistent hands, strong hands, consistent hands, great body control, will make the acrobatic catches, will make the tough catches, has great route running nuance, so he can has a good feel of zone, man, is fast enough to run away from defenders, and just really doesn't have many weaknesses. And then Tyler, I'll go with T. Higgins, since he's the second one. T. Higgins, long, athletic, rangy football player, receiver that can run, can stretch the field. He has good feet for a taller receiver, so he can get in and out of his breaks. And once again, with all these guys, when the ball is in there, in the vicinity, they're going to make a play. Strong hands, great catch radius, and then it's good run after the catch guy. When he gets the ball in his hands, he can run past, away from guys, and he continues to get better. And then Jamar Chase is explosive, strong, explosive receiver that has great hands, great with the ball in his hands, as he almost plays like a running back when he gets the ball in his hands. Is a good route runner, and just they all have a good feel for the game and understand the offense and understand what Joe's trying to do. And exceptional people, exceptional men, coachable, and the sky's the limit, man.
Well, I'll tell you, the sky is the limit. There are no two ways about that. I mean, how do you? It must be easy to motivate these guys, Coach. I mean, is it is it almost a situation sometimes we have to rein them in a little bit, or do they have it figured out perfectly? I mean, in terms of the mental part of it and the preparation part of it and all those kind of things.
Yeah, it's just challenging them. Always continue to push them. Never let them be content. Never let them become complacent. Always show them and let them know that there's more to be had. Even the great game, they all had last week against Atlanta. There's more. There's more out there. There's more that we can do better, that they could be better at. And so that's when we watch the film, even after a win and after a great performance like they had, there's always things that we can improve on to be even better. And we understand we're going to go against some pretty good defenses here in the coming weeks and some good individual secondaries. And so we got to make sure we're on our game. And I always tell them you're only as good as your last game. And so that game's behind us. We're on to Cleveland, a big game. And, they got some great corners that have done a great job against us in the past. And so we've got a great challenge ahead of us. And it's all about the next game and making sure that the preparation's still there, the focus there, so we can go out on game day and make plays.
Yeah, I remember Jamar saying that Denzel Ward was as good a corner as he's seen. And I think he's still in concussion protocol. He's had some issues in that regard, but that back end, when all hands are on deck, it's pretty good. And then they got Myles Garrett, pressuring you to maybe make you throw the ball a little bit sooner than you want to sometimes. So that's a more than worthy opponent defensively, particularly on the road up there in the dog pound, I guess.
Yeah, we have the utmost respect for that defense. Like I said, they've done a good job against us these last couple of years, and we know secondary-wise they're very talented. They've got good speed. Newsom's a good young corner that can play both inside and outside. Obviously, Greedy Williams is a veteran player, and Denzel, when he's healthy, is one of the top corners in the league. And not only that, but like you said, they've got their front four that can get after get after the quarterback. And so we understand the challenge ahead. Great opportunity in the division game, Monday Night Football. You can't ask for much more. And so we're going to go through it day by day and practice and prepare and focus and go out there Monday night and put on a show.
Well, in press conferences, Zach Taylor and Joe Burrow both told everybody, relax. There was no panic. There was a sense of urgency at 0-2, but no panic. Now you've won 4 out of 5. Congratulations on what you're doing with your room, Coach. You've gotten great performances out of your players. I know they think a lot of you, and you think a lot of them. That's a great thing. Keep it rolling, sir.
Thank you. Look forward to this Monday night and the rest of the season.
Appreciate your time.
Okay, man. Anytime.
At First Star Logistics, we're a very strict company that really puts the pressure on our employees. Breaks? What are those?
That's what I'm talking about, Icky. Get the body right, then the mind's right.
Gotta get that body right.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Become a star with a chance to earn the highest commission percentages in the industry as a freight broker agent. Check out firststarlogistics.com.